Hey everyone, my name is Danita Brown, and today we are going to be doing a workout using our reformer. We're going to start off with some footwork. So I have on 3 springs. My machine is the Janet 2.0 folding reformer from Personal Hour. If you are using any other type of machine, you can use 3 medium to heavy springs for footwork. I'm using yellow, green, and red on my machine. So we're going to come down to our back. And for footwork, I like to lift the headrest at least 1 notch so my spine is in a comfortable position. But if it's more comfortable with a flat headrest, you can also remain with a flat headrest. We're going to start with the heels on the foot bar in what we call a parallel position. Your ankles are going to be flexed so that your toes point up to the ceiling, and they're going to be about your inner hip distance apart. So you have a nice straight line from the hip to the knee to the ankle. And you can just relax your arms down by your sides. We're going to take a couple breaths just to relax into your reformer. So take a breath in through your nose and then breathing out through your mouth. We're going to take one more deep breath in through the nose and then out through your mouth. And then on the next inhale, we're going to press the carriage all the way out to an extension. So inhale, stretch your legs. Exhale, come in, and we're coming in right before our carriage reaches the bumper, right before we hear that sound of our carriage arriving all the way home. And we're going to be here for 5, 4, last 3, 2 more. You should really feel this in the quads. Last one, you're going to press all the way out, and then you're going to come in halfway, and you're going to do some little pulses. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we can press all the way out, stretch your legs. Inhale, come all the way in, and we're going to take the feet wide on the foot bar with what we call an external rotation. So from your hip, you're going to be turning the knees and the toes outwards, still flexed, and we're going to press in and out here in that wide external rotation. For 5, 4, last 3, 2 more. On the next one, we're going to come in halfway, and we're going to do those pulses again. So in halfway, little pulse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then press all the way out. Come all the way back into home. We're going to stay wide, just turning back to a parallel position and slide down to the arch of your foot. Sometimes we call it a bird on a perch, where your arch is pressed into the bar, toes wrap under, heels wrap under, and we're just pressing in and out here. Make sure you're breathing. You might feel a little tension in the arches of your feet. For 4, 3, 2 more. On 1, you're going to press all the way out, and I want you to walk your left foot to the center of the foot bar and then your right. And from here, without holding your breath, you're just going to walk your feet up and down the foot bar, massaging your feet on the bar, pausing anywhere that might have a little extra tension. I like to go to the balls of my feet so I can separate my toes. Just giving yourself a little foot massage. And then we're going to walk down to the toes and the balls of your feet. Once the toes and the balls of your feet are on the bar, take another exhale as you just let your heels sink under for that tendon stretch. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, come in, press out, hold it here, heels go under, lift, and bend. Out, heels under, lift, and bend. 3 more. Out, heels under, lift, and bend. Last 2. And last 1. We're going to lift the heels. From here, I want you to bend your left knee and let your right heel sink under. If you want to give it a light little pulse, you can. Lift both. Let your left heel go under. Soft pulse, just stretching into the backs of your legs without locking your knee in place. And then we're going to pick it up for a little prance. Left, right for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift both, bend your knees, bring the carriage all the way in. Here, if you want to stretch the calves over the foot bar for a little stretch. You can also take the knees together and just drop them over to the right for a twist of the spine. And then let's take it over to the left. Then we're going to come back to the center. Headrest is going to go all the way down flat for this one. So flat headrest, and then we're going to bring our heels, a little bit of the arches onto the foot bar. And just double check that your headrest is all the way down. We're going to go into an articulating bridge. So from here, there's a small little gap between my low back and the mat. And you can see I'm just going to tilt my pelvis to anchor my low back into the mat. And I'm going to start to lift up one vertebrae at a time. Take a breath in at the top and then melt the spine down. We're just going to do 2 more like that. Imprinting the spine, scoop yourself up. Another breath in at the top. Melt the spine down. I'm going to do 1 more. Imprint the spine, scoop yourself up, melt the spine down. Once you're all the way down, take a little pause there. If you need to relax the arms, you can. And then we're going to go into some hinge bridging. So now we're going to lift the hips up to the ceiling with the flat back. Lower down. I'm just tapping my tailbone. Lift back up to the ceiling. And if this is uncomfortable for you to have your feet up on that bar, you can always take the feet down to your padded, or if you don't have padded, platform underneath the foot bar. We're going to do 2 more. Last one. And then come all the way down. Take a little pause where we're going to start to incorporate a little more movement into this. And you can always have your hands pressing into the carriage instead of reaching up to the ceiling if you need a little more assistance with your stability. Let's take the hips up to the ceiling. We're going to hold it at the top. Open and close the knees. Lower down for a tap. Lift, open, close, lower down. Lift, open, close, lower down. 2 more. Lift, open, close. Last one. Lift, open, close, lower all the way down. Relax your arms. Take a breath here. And then the last thing we're going to do is combine the arms and the legs together. And of course, you can leave the arms down on your carriage if you need that extra stability. Come up into your bridge. And from here, we're going to open the knees, open the arms, back together. Exhale, open. Inhale, close. 4, 3, 2 more. Last one. Bring the arms together. Lower your hips all the way down. Once your hips are all the way down, go ahead and give yourself a little stretch. You can pull this right leg up to the ceiling. Point and flex your toe. And then we're going to switch. Pull this leg in. Point and flex your toe. And then I'm just going to wrap my legs around the bar. I'm going to use it to help me come up to seated. And from here, I'm just going to adjust my springs. I'm going to take off some of the spring load so it's a little bit lighter for my arms and straps. So I'm going to go down to, let's do a green and a yellow for my machine. So kind of moderate arm tension. I don't want to go too heavy because we're going to be working into the shoulders and we don't want to go too crazy on the shoulders. Now, once you have your springs of choice, you're going to grab your loops. And we're going to take our loops up to the ceiling. We're holding on to the short loops here. Loops up to the ceiling, and you're going to float your legs into a tabletop. So if this is uncomfortable, you can cross one ankle over the other. But we're going to start off with just a lat press. So you're going to press down to your hips. Inhale, reach back up to the ceiling. Down to your hips. Inhale, reach back up to the ceiling. We're going to be here for 3. 2 more. Last one, we're going to hold it. Curl the head and chest up if you haven't already. We're going to go into our single leg stretch. Left and right. Left and right for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. Draw the knees in, bring the arms up, and you can take them out to a T. Give yourself a little pause before we go into our next exercise. So let's take the arms up again for the lat press again. This time we're going to press down to our hips and we're going to add the chest lift if you can. Inhale, reach back up to the ceiling. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, reach. 3 more. Last 2. On the next one, we're going to curl up, hold it, bring our heels together, toes apart, and we're going to stretch and bend. Stretch and bend for 4, 3, 2, last one. Bring your arms up to a T and then relax all the way down. Take a little pause here. On the next one, we're going to take both legs up to the ceiling, point your toes and squeeze your legs together. We're going to hold those there right over the hips. Press down to your hips and then reach up to the ceiling. And you can add in your chest lift, curling up and lower down, up and down. 3 more. Last 2. Last one, curl up and hold it. We're going to go into our scissor, right and left, right and left. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Bring it all the way in. Relax your arms all the way down. Relax your feet onto the carriage. And we're going to hook our long loops onto our pegs for a second as we come up to seated. And we are going to do some work facing the opposite direction. So we're going to do some rollbacks. So for our rollbacks, you're going to take your springs down. We can actually leave the spring tension where it is, and we're going to take the legs through the headrest. And if this is uncomfortable, you can cross one leg over the other. That's totally fine. You're going to need about 3 or 4 inches of space behind you, but we do want the legs to be supported. And on our machine, if you have this personal hour machine, the shoulder blocks actually come out. So if you want to take them out, you can. We're going to grab onto our loops and we're going to hold on to the tape. So the black tape that's wrapped a little bit higher than our hardware. And then use the loops to come up into a long spine position. And then I want you to roll your shoulders down and back and pull the crown of your head right up to the ceiling with your shoulders right over your hips. Take a breath in through the nose. And then as you exhale, we're just going to practice tilting the pelvis without moving the carriage at all. So you can see my machine is not moving. And I come back up to seated position. So without my machine moving at all, I just round the spine and then come back up into a lengthened spine. So that's a tilt of my pelvis. And that's just isolating my low spine, lumbar spine from everything else. So let's do one more, and then I'm going to show you how to go into that rollback. So we round the spine, you're going to hold it here, stabilize yourself, and then continue to round back. Now, if you want to go all the way down and back, you can, or you can pause where you feel comfortable. I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to round back up to seated, coming all the way up into a lengthened spine. I'm going to do that 2 more times. Round back. And then round back up to seated. Perfect. 2 more. Round it back. And then round back up to seated. On the next one, I'm going to round back and hold it. So round back, Hold it here, and then I'm going to draw the belly in. From here, I want you to pull the loops apart, opening your chest, and then bring the loops back together. So exhale, pull it apart. Inhale, back together. And I'm just pulling wider than my reformer. I'm not pulling all the way out to a T, but you totally can if you want to try that. We are on a heavier spring. Let's do one more. And then let's round all the way up to seated. Take a pause here. If you want, you can round all the way up and over. Give yourself a little extension or stretch of your upper spine, and then restack the spine. Come back up through center. Let's try that again. We're going to add some rotation. So we're going to round back, hold it here, draw the abs in. I'm going to pull this left loop, rotate to the left, and then back to the center. Now the right. Pull the right loop in, rotate to the right. Let's take it to the left and right. Left and right. Let's do one more to each side. Last one to the left. And last one to the right. Stretch the arms forward, round all the way up to seated. And we're going to grab our short loops here and make an adjustment. So you grab onto your short loops, and we're going to come into our bicep curl position already. So we start here. And then from here, I want you to round the spine, curling all the way down and back. Hold your bicep curl. And then we're going to go into those actual curls. So bend the elbows, pull it in. And if this isn't heavy enough for you, you can do single arm bicep curl as well. Or you can do your double arm bicep curl, holding the C curve of the spine for 4, 3, 2. On 1, we're going to pull and hold it here. Little pulses up to the ceiling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause here, hold the bicep curl, and then round back up to seated. Once you're all the way up, you can rotate your arms. Give yourself a little stretch. And then let's come up to seated. We're going to do a little chest expansion. If you need to switch to the long loop, you can. Take a breath in. Long extended spine. We're going to exhale, press back to our hips, and then stretch back forward. So exhale, press back. Inhale, extend forward, and you're resisting the spring as it goes forward. So you're not just letting the loops pull you forward, but you're actually resisting the spring. We're going to be here for 3. 2 more. Last one. Perfect. Relax here for a second, and then we're going to add on to that chest expansion. So now we're going to add some rotation of the cervical spine, so the upper spine. You're going to press back and hold it here at your hips. Relax your shoulders. Exhale, turn your head to the left, to the center, to the right, to the center, and then release the loops. So you press back, hold it, turn your head to the right, center, left, center, and release. We're going to do 2 more. Press back and hold, right, center, left, center, and release. Last one. Press and hold, right, center, left, center, and release. Perfect. Give yourself a nice stretch all the way up and over. And then we'll come all the way back up through center. I'm going to hook the loops on here onto my pegs. And then from here, I want you guys to adjust your springs. Let's go to 1 red spring. So we're going to take off our yellow and green. And we're going to go to 1 red spring. So not super heavy. And then from here, we're going to come on to kneeling on our machine. So we're going to be kneeling, but we're not going to be kneeling for long. So bring your knees close to the shoulder blocks, and then place your hands right on the frame. So your knees are right underneath your hips, and then your palms are beneath your shoulders. Now we're going to be pulling the knees towards the palms, but you're going to do this by rounding your spine. So instead of pulling the knees in like so, you're going to round your spine, and it's going to be a small movement. And if the one rep spring is a little bit too heavy for this, you can always switch and take it down to a lighter spring. So exhale, round the spine, pull it in. Perfect. 3 more. It's a small movement because you can only round your spine so far, but you're pulling the knees towards the wrist. We're going to do 1 more. And then relax here, and we're going to take both hands over to the right side. And we're going to do the same thing, but now to the right side. So now it's going to be an oblique movement. So round the spine, pull the knees towards the wrist on that right side. We're going to do 4 to this side. 3, 2, last one, and then we're going to take it over to the other side. Same thing over here on the left side. So you round the spine, pull the knees in towards the wrist. 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. Perfect. And then once you have both hands on the frame, you're just going to sit back into your heels. Give yourself a little stretch. You can take both hands over to the right side, stretch into your left obliques, and then over to the right side, or left side, excuse me. Stretch into your obliques on this side. Perfect. And then let's come back to the center, where we're going to take our springs and we're going to add 1 more spring. So we're going to be on 2 springs here. Let's do green and red for this. So green and red on my machine. We're going to do some feet in straps. So we're going to lay all the way down on our back. Once you're down on your back, you're going to take your long loops and place them on your feet. So you can place 1 on the right foot and then 1 on your left. We're going to take both legs up to the ceiling, and we're going to start off with lower end lift. So just relax your arms down by your sides. Legs move together as we lower down towards our foot bar, back up to the ceiling. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift back up to the ceiling. We're going to be here for 3 more. Last 2. We've got 1 more we're going to add on. So we're going to lower down, bring it back up to the ceiling. Perfect. Now we're going to add at the bottom. So lower down, pause here, and we're just going to open the width of our foot bar back together, lift up to the ceiling. Lower down, open, close, back up to the ceiling. 2 more. Down, open, close, and lift. Last 1. Down, open, close, and lift. Then we're going to bend the knees, and we're just going to go into our bend and stretch. Press to the foot bar, draw the knees back in for 6, 5, last 4, 3, 2 more, last 1. Perfect. From here, we're going to combine those 2 movements. So lift up to the ceiling, bend your knees, press out. Lift up to the ceiling, bend your knees, press out. Perfect. We're going to reverse it in just a second. Up to the ceiling, bend your knees, press out. And then let's reverse. Bring the knees in, up to the ceiling, lower down. In, up, down. In, up, down. Last 1. In, up, down. Once you're here reaching to the foot bar, I want you to bend your right knee and take your left leg out to the side. And then press both feet back to the foot bar and you're going to switch. So right leg stretches out, left knee bends, press and switch. Press and switch. Press and switch. Perfect. One more to each side. Right and left. We're going to take both legs up to the ceiling and go right into some leg circles. Up, out, down, and around to start, and then we'll reverse them after we've done a few in this direction. And then let's go ahead and reverse those. So we're going to take them out, up, and around. Perfect. Two more. Last one. And then once your legs reach back up to the ceiling, just grab your ropes, give them a little pull. We're going to keep the right leg where it is. Bend your left knee, take it down to the floor. Keep it in control there and just take your right leg up to the ceiling. You can even open it out to the side. If it's uncomfortable on the floor, you can also bring it to the frame of your reformer. And we're going to take both legs up to the ceiling, switch, and do that on the other side. So right leg is out, left leg can open. We're going to take both legs up to the ceiling. Just let them fall apart. Feel a nice stretch on the inner thigh, maybe in the backs of the thighs. We're just going to bend the knees, or you can go into a happy baby. We'll come into just a butterfly for a moment. Take a couple breaths to lower the heart rate, slow it down a little bit. We're going to take 2 deep breaths here. Last one. And then let's go ahead and slowly take off our loops. You can take them off one or both at a time. Hook the loops onto the pegs. And then we're going to come up to seated, where you're going to scoot all the way back until your hips are touching your shoulder blocks. And then from here, I want you to grab your long loops. But first, let's switch our springs. Let's adjust on our machines so that we're on a pretty light spring. I'm going to use the high yellow option. So you can see on your reformer, you might have 2 sets of knobs to hook your springs onto, or you may have hooks at the top as well, or knobs at the top. We're going to go for a high yellow. So not quite onto the next spring, but also not too light. And then once you have that, you're going to grab your long loops now, and your feet are going to be flexed. And that can start off on the gray platform or the platform that you have. And then you're just going to pull the elbows forward into your rib cage. Take an exhale and just reach towards your toes. And then come back up to center. Now, if the long loop is not giving you enough tension, you can switch to the short loop as well. So it really depends on your machine whether or not you have enough tension with the longer loop. So we exhale, take a fold. Inhale, restack the spine. Perfect. Come back to center. You're going to separate the feet a little bit wider. We're going to turn the palms so that they're facing forward, and then take the arms up overhead. From here, you can bring them together, and we're just going to take a fold towards our right. And then we're going to restack right up through center. Take a fold over to our left. Restack right up through center, and I'm just going to open my arms out to a T. Get a little stretch of the spine, and then back up overhead. Open out to a T. Back up overhead. Perfect. I'm going to take the elbows back into the rib cage, and we're going to take that opposite stretch over to the right. But this time we're going to restack the spine, bringing it back to center. Now we're going to take it over to the left. Exhale over to your right. Back to the center. Over to your left. Back to your center. Perfect. And then from here, I want you to hook up your loops. Once your loops are hooked on, you can take the legs to the outside of your reformer frame. And then from here, we're just going to place our hands onto our platform, or you can place them down onto the floor. We're just going to send the carriage back and give yourself a little stretch through your hip flexors. And then we're going to walk both hands over to the right side, stretching our right side of our body. And then over to our left side. And then back to the center. If you want, you can place your hands on the foot bar and give yourself a deeper stretch, lowering your chest down towards the floor. And then go ahead and pull the carriage all the way into close, where you can hook on a couple more springs to make your machine a little bit more steady. And then once your machine is steady, we're just going to sit here facing the bar and then just lift the chest up towards the center and then round your spine. Lift and round. Come back up to the center. Take your right hand back. Give yourself a little twist. And then we'll come back to the center. Let's take it over to the left. And then we'll come back to the center. We're going to take a bend with our right arm for a lateral bend. And then over to the left. Lateral bend. And then come back to the center. Last time, we're just going to take a breath. Reach both arms up overhead. Stretching up to the ceiling. Exhale, close your arms out to your hips or to the sides of your reformer, and then you guys are all done. If you enjoyed this workout, let me know in the comments. If you're ready for a little bit more intermediate or challenging exercises, or you want to try some of your props on top of your reformer, like your box, or maybe your circle, or your balls, bands, whatever you want to use, let me know in the comments and I will create a video using those items. Thanks again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's workout, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.